Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan.
Chris.
Lee.
You're back.
I am. Hello, everyone.
Welcome back, Dan.
Thank you.
Big thanks to Sean for filling your seat for the last couple of weeks.
For making us look professional.
Yeah, because she does that kind of thing for a living. Professional.
She's a professional.
Professional journalist, not professional seat filler. You only get them at the Oscars. No more racing till March. Still got lots.
Unless you're a fan of Formula E.
No more racing till March. Actually, that's not true, because we've got the Rolex 24 coming up in January.
Yeah, the Daytona 24 Hours, which
featuring Alonso and Stroll and other drivers.
Lando Norris.
It's Team Nando and Lando.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And the Lance Stroll driving for Jackie Chan's team.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, he is. And he's the only one with previous experience, because apparently he did it last year. I mean, the only Formula One driver with previous experience.
What Lance Stroll did?
Apparently so.
He was allowed to stay up that late at that age.
Apparently he was. Maybe he didn't do the graveyard shift. Maybe he did the.
Oh, right. He started early and he had to be in bed by 10, but then he was up first thing the following morning.
Yeah.
But that means that Alonso could win Rookie of the Year, but Stroll can't.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Because, of course, Fernando is going to be up potentially for 2 Rookie of the Year awards next year.
Yep.
Because he's doing WEC as well. So, the best driver in the world at the moment could be a double rookie winner this year to add to his Rookie of the Year from Indy last year.
And presumably from Formula One a decade or so ago.
What do you find hard to get your head around?
The world.
Right. that's
when you
fair.
if you get to my age,
145.
Yeah, the older I get, the more my birthday cards look like a congratulations on a decent snooker break. Moving swiftly on. Oh no, we're not. We're going to talk about Sauber. That's the first thing on the running order.
It is.
Team Arse.
Yeah, Team Arse F1. Even though we've no news during the winter, as we always say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing happens during the winter. Anyone fancy retiring?
Yeah, exactly. And the big news to break, everybody's already heard about it, but let's discuss it anyway. Alfa Romeo being a title sponsor for Sauber for next year. Essentially pumping Ferrari money into the Sauber team.
And putting Charles Leclerc in a F1 seat.
But not Antonio Giovinazzi, as we all suspected.
Because of Sauber's choice for second driver. Who has Ericsson got the negatives of? You can't say negatives anymore. Who has he got the original JPEGs of?
I was just going to say
he's got some hidden.
There's enough negatives when it comes to fucking him.
Yeah, usually on the position tower next to it. Admittedly, only towards the end of the season when everyone behind him started with penalties.
Yeah.
Didn't we work out pre-show that this is going to be his 5th season in Formula One? I thought it was his 6th, and then you said it was his 5th.
How long did you decide he hasn't scored a point for?
And he only scored points in one season.
And it wasn't his first.
No, it was his first season at Sauber.
But rightfully he should have scored points in 2017.
But was in danger of being overtaken if he'd have tried to.
Yeah. He was in the position to get points, made an agreement to swap places to give Wehrlein a chance to possibly get even more points, and on the basis that they'd swap back.
But they couldn't because of the car behind.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought Ericsson's fucking outlasted Wehrlein in Formula One?
Well, we know why, don't we? Let's be honest, because
Wehrlein's not very good.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's to do with him being a Mercedes. It's to do with him being a Mercedes driver and Ericsson not being an anyone driver.
If Wehrlein was any good, he'd have been in the Mercedes now.
If he was better than he is, perhaps, yeah. But the reason that Wehrlein quite clearly has been made way for Charles Leclerc is a Ferrari driver. Sauber will be using current year Ferrari engines next year, and clearly they don't want to be pumping money into the team that they're going to badge Alfa Romeo Sauber, and have a Mercedes driver sat in that car giving feedback to Mercedes about how the Ferrari engine feels doing certain things.
Also, Charles Leclerc is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
if you watched any of the F2 races.
Yeah, no, I'm not discounting. The only reason he's there is because he's a Ferrari protege. That's not it at all. He's Formula 2 champion. You know, he's
the reason he's there is because he's a Ferrari protege. But the reason he's a Ferrari protege is because he's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fairer way of putting it. But yeah, other Ferrari young driver Antonio Giovinazzi, who has already raced in Formula One and for that team, has missed out and becomes reserve driver again.
And I thought the two performances he did for them last year, first one he put in a solid job, didn't he?
Very much so, at very late notice in Australia.
And then in China, was it?
Yeah, he put it in the wall.
Less good.
Yeah, put it in the wall.
So put in one good performance and put in the wall. Because what was it? Australia. He only came in for FP3.
Yeah.
Because it was late our time on the Friday night when they made the announcement.
He pulled arrested it.
Yes. I remember it vividly because I was just mopping up my kitchen floor after my dishwasher had exploded.
Yes.
So I'm there with the mop in one hand and trying to write an article on Giovinazzi driving a Sauber with the other.
Well, Giovinazzi is still a Ferrari reserve driver as well.
He is still on the Ferrari Young Driver programme.
Yeah.
He is nominally Ferrari's third driver, but I just get the impression that if anything was to happen that meant that Vettel or Kimi couldn't do a race, Giovinazzi would find himself driving a Sauber and Leclerc would find himself driving the big boy car.
Yeah, I think that would be the way it would go in from 2018 onwards. It's quite interesting to note as well that with Alfa Romeo releasing quite a lot of new models of road cars in the last 2 years,
Some of them are very pretty.
Yeah,
Some of them worked.
Antonio
Twice.
Giovinazzi has turned up at all of the launches. He's been the motorsports driver who turns up because Alfa Romeo like to, sporty DNA sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's in their heritage. They won the very first ever Formula One World Championship. So they always try and build on that with the launch of anything. Oh, we started in motorsports, therefore, we know what we're doing. And Giovinazzi being at every car launch and then not getting the seat in the Formula One team just smacks a little bit of a slap in the face, I think.
I suppose there's only 2 holes, though. Only 2 holes, and if Sauber have one of those holes...
Then they put Ericsson over Giovinazzi in there. Yeah.
I mean, obviously the money from, Longbow Finance, Ericsson's main backers, is still going to be there.
Given the
team.
choices in that team, I'm surprised it's not Strongbow Finance.
Good old strong cider. Yeah. Dan, are you on the Alfa Romeo website?
Yeah,
there?
I might be.
You're having a look at the new range. The Giulia is particularly pretty, although I like the Stelvio. I actually really like the SUV that they've done.
Dan is now getting his second phone out to look at the cars that Chris is suggesting next to the ones that he wants to look at.
No, I just felt my work phone buzzing, which sometimes means I have to disappear, but it was...
And liberate countries.
No liberating to be done today, Dan. Come on.
The kittens are safe.
Today is all about oppression.
No, depression is what you're feeling, Dan. It's okay.
Anyway. We are all surprised, aren't we, that Ericsson has retained his seat?
Yeah. I saw absolutely no positives from him last season.
I saw positives from him in that race at Baku, but that was about it.
What, that race at Baku where he managed to spin whilst going in a straight line and reverse into the side of the bridge?
Yeah.
To be fair,
It was a horrible bridge anyway.
Yeah, but 18 people scored points in Baku. There's only 10 point scoring positions. And there was less than 18 finishes. And he still didn't score points.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, he's...
We have said that it was hard to measure with that car and those two drivers exactly what was going to be happening.
The average gap between Ericsson and Verline in qualifying this year was just less than half a tenth. So either that means the car was terrible, Verline's terrible, or Verline's really good, and actually Ericsson's not all that far behind him. I'm not inclined to believe the last one.
I think it's Alfa Romeo or Ferrari, whichever way you want to say it, have chosen half a driver lineup, and Sauber got to choose the other half. And
they've got half a driver lineup.
Oh yeah, yeah, and the other half a driver they plumped for Ericsson because I don't think they were allowed Verline. And the other one would have been Giovinazzi, and maybe they felt that was too much Alfa Romeo
I think we got
Input.
it wrong. I think we got it wrong with
I suppose the other
Ericsson's mates. You
the,
know, like,
the other thing to consider is, do you want a team with two rookies?
It's never hurt Sauber in the past. Ericsson and Nasser were still relatively.
and to be fair, those back teams, they'll take a gamble on two rookies, won't they?
That's it. Toro Rosso have gone for two rookies. All right, fair enough.
Marussia, look how it worked out for them. Fine.
Yeah. HRT, a rookie every race.
Yeah. Sometimes a session. But yeah, I think we've just maybe we might have underplayed because we didn't know just how friendly the Ericsson is with his sponsors. It turns out.
Yeah, because I noticed with the mock-up livery, which I quite like. Do we all like the mock-up livery?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. It's very nice.
It's good. There's things that can be done. I'd like to see what it looks like on a proper shaped car.
Yeah, but
rather
they
than
choose.
A 2012 shaped one.
It is a 2012 one.
They could have put this year's aero kit on it just so you got a better idea.
Yeah, it is a 2012 Sauber, but they just put new stickers on, because the 2012 Sauber was white, wasn't it? That was when Perez was driving for them. So they just got a white Sauber and made it less white by putting a bit of an Alfa Romeo.
So chances are it's not going to look anything like that, is it?
It look a little bit like that. It's a concept livery, but I noticed that the Solana logo is still on the thing, and that's a Marcus Ericsson sponsor.
Yeah.
So clearly, it's a sponsorship thing rather than.
Well, realistically, the only sponsorship on that car is his, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so when you think of it
They even asked Pirelli if they could have a Pirelli sticker on. We use your tyres. Well, so does everyone else. But yeah, here you go, have a sticker. Our car doesn't look so empty anymore. What can we put on the side? We've been in Formula 1 for 25 years. Let's just put that everywhere.
That blue Sauber this year, I think, was the most horrible Formula 1 car I've seen for ages.
I didn't mind
it looked quite nice.
Oh, did you? I didn't.
I didn't mind the colour.
It looked slow.
The livery was a bit, but I really like the colour blue.
It looked better than the blue and yellow ones from the year before.
Banco do Brazil.
Yeah.
From
Yeah, well,
NASA's.
yeah.
I mean, you didn't get a lot of time to see the Sauber livery, but when it was on screen, you got to see it for quite a while because it took about 5 minutes to go from one side of the picture to the other.
Yeah.
I'm just doing some research about Longbow Finance again, and apparently all the money is coming from the clothing chain H&M, because the main backer behind that, which is Marcus Ericsson's dad's best mate, apparently, is the CEO of them and worth several billion.
So it's everything to do with that team, with where the money comes from, has Ericsson dust all over it, doesn't it?
So why don't H&M sponsor the team?
Do they want their name associated with a brand like that?
What do you mean with a brand like that?
With Sauber, with a slow Formula 1 car?
Wouldn't have thought it would matter, really, would it?
MTV got their logo on as Imtech because most of the time it was parked up at the side of the road. Everyone could see the logo then.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I ever buy into the like people like getting to be known with a brand. You know, I mean, I don't. Bose is plastered all over
Mercedes.
I know Bose make good speakers and good sound stuff, but I don't immediately correspond Mercedes and Bose now.
You don't pick up a set of Bose speakers and think, I really should buy a Mercedes at some point. Or the other way around. Buy a Mercedes and go, I need a set of Bose headphones.
I've just been a couple of times I've looked at Bose headphones and gone, I should really buy a Mercedes with the money I was going to buy these headphones with.
Sorry, I was just reading some very dull financial documents about Longbow Finance, but
is it just a trust fund set up to fund Marcus Ericsson's career?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah, I thought that would be the case.
Yeah, it's a huge article on Forbes, and I can't be asked reading it. But yeah, basically it's
TLDR.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure our listeners can't be bothered listening to it.
No, exactly.
No.
Tell you what, we'll move on. The Abu Dhabi tyre test. 2 days last week. Variety of young drivers, some not so young drivers.
We went through the list, didn't we, last week? And
Yeah.
we spotted that Oliver Turvey was going to be doing a McLaren drive, and Fernando Alonso put it in the wall, didn't he, in one of his first laps?
He did, and then Stoffel crashed in exactly the same place the following day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So was that a tyre thing, or because they were running hypersofts, weren't they?
Some drivers were running hypersofts. Kimi was, and apparently he said that he couldn't tell any difference between the hypersofts and the ultrasofts.
And he's the only driver who drove on the 2 days, the only current roster Formula One driver who actually said that there was no difference.
There was no difference, but on day one he was fastest out of everybody by a good couple of tenths.
So there's
They
no.
couldn't tell the difference, but it was quicker.
Fair enough. But everybody else said they liked them. They felt more confident with them.
The question is with these new hypersoft tyres is how long are they actually going to last before
I think you've got
before you start losing time, and is it going to be even more tyre management?
No.
Because I mean, remember the days of the old qualifying tyre, which were good for 3 laps.
Yeah, but don't forget, this year's super softs were the same as last year's softs. So that means the hypersoft is pretty much last year's super soft.
Ultrasoft.
Ultrasoft,
They've actually gone softer this year.
No, but this 2017, everything went a step harder.
Yeah, but now they've gone 2 steps softer.
Yeah, but what I mean is...
Yeah, but so it's not
Yeah.
2 steps softer, it's 1 step softer.
Yeah.
From what it was in 2016.
Yeah.
And what you'll find is these hypersofts are probably the softest of last year's tyres. Brought back because they needed them.
No, they're going to be even softer than last year's Ultrasofts because everything is now softer. So this year's Ultrasofts are going to be softer. 2018 Ultrasofts are going to be softer than 2017 Ultrasofts.
Do we know that? Well, yeah.
Yeah, because everything's softer than it was last year.
So, all tyres all across the board next year are going to be softer than what they were this year. Is that
Yes,
what you're trying to say in a
Pirelli
really
have been
confusing way?
Yeah.
Right, cool.
So these hypersofts are going to be softer than anything that's been in Formula One since the days of the old qualifying tyre.
All right, cool.
Which was stopped being used when? 95, 96?
It was mid-90s,
Yeah.
back in the days of qualifying engines.
Well, man, I mean, they just won't get used that much.
I think they'll be used at a couple of the circuits that had Ultrasofts this year.
Yeah, there'll be a load of like low tyre deg circuits, but
If you think about Monaco, the Ultrasofts lasted almost the whole race, didn't
Yeah, which was wrong.
So
And-
go 2 steps softer than that.
And
Yeah.
Pirelli's brief for 2018 was to bring back 2-stop races because too many of the races in 2017 were 1-stoppers and they should have been 2. So Pirelli's brief was, right, okay, make some tyres which mean we're going to have 2-stop races, not 1, but 2 stops for most races. And the ones this year that were 2-stop, make them 3-stoppers.
do you think it's...
Because I think Liberty are cotton on to the fact that pit stops are vital and also quite exciting.
Yeah.
Which, to other people, not necessarily. I mean, we were talking with a non-Formula One fan who said about the most impressive thing is how quickly they change the wheels.
Which is really impressive to me.
Yeah, it is. Of course, it's like 2.1 seconds to just change all 4 wheels and off you go. But the undercut, the overcut, you've got these different scenarios.
It used to be impressive when it was 12 seconds. Now it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And watching classic Formula One races on Sky F1, and you're watching like the Donington Grand Prix from '93, and they're not even wearing fireproof overalls because there's no refueling. They just go in. They're wearing their sponsors' caps and like rain jackets. It's just like, ooh, he was in the pits for 21 seconds. Good lord!
I am sure.
All of the teams could have changed their tyres in 21 seconds this year.
The 76 Japanese Grand Prix when James Hunt won the title. I am pretty positive there was one of the James Hunt's mechanics actually with a fag in his mouth during a tyre change.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would believe that.
It was when they couldn't use the jack because he'd blown a tyre and they had to lift the car up, and I swear he lifted the back corner of the car with a fag in his gob.
Is it in the spirit of Formula One to give the tyre manufacturers like all these parameters to of like when they want the tyres to go off and what deg they want, the separate things, or should it go one of two ways like it did? I realise bad stuff it happened in the tyre war, as in like the end of the US Grand Prix, but or should it be like one extreme or the other? You turn around to a tyre manufacturer or two tyre manufacturers if you've got them in the sport, and say, right, when you need to make a tyre which will last as long as possible while being able to be pushed and be fast for as long as possible, or do you go the other side, like the other extreme, and say you need to make a tyre which will go as fast as possible, and it doesn't matter how it
degrades.
Degrades. That was it.
Yeah, I
Degradates.
I would say the best solution would be give Pirelli complete carte blanche to do what they want.
Yeah.
And make the rules. If you want 2 pit stops in a race, make the rules that the teams have to do 2 pit stops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
keep it that simple. And then they can, if they can make a tyre that is like the Hypersoft and can last a race distance, great on Pirelli. Good work.
But I think that like you fixed it there, because if they turn around and said, right, you have to do two pit stops, then Pirelli would work with that, and they say, well, right, well, there is the maximum stint of X laps, so we only need it to do X laps. So, and that's where then they would you'd be getting prototype tyres.
But it would change for each circuit, though, wouldn't it? That's the thing.
But it would change for each circuit, but aren't Grand Prix distances like the kind of similar?
200 miles, is it?
Usually 200 miles.
Yeah. So, although you might be on,
which is why if you don't get to a certain distance, you only get half points because you haven't completed near the full distance.
Yeah, but you'd still be looking at, you'd still have like a hard, medium, and soft of these types of tyres, which they change per circuits, but the tyres would be designed to do the same amount of distances. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw somebody else comment on this. Somebody on our Facebook page a couple of weeks ago said exactly the same thing when this whole sort of thing was announced with the Pirelli tyres, saying that they agreed with what you said. Just take a soft, medium, and hard. We don't need to know what they are.
Yeah.
To a circuit, and then somebody a couple of comments down was like, no, I completely disagree with that. We need to know what the tyres are. I was like,
I don't know why. That's all. I don't know why you need to know.
Cha-ching.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean
because
from a fan's point of view.
From a fan's point of view, yeah, but it's making money for Pirelli because you will get people who want to will be buying Pirelli tyres, and if they've got the choice of, what can it look like, which Formula 1 compound I've got on my car.
I think to some extent you've got people who are going to say, well, how come the softest tyre lasted 12 laps at Monaco and 120 at Baku?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can say, well, they're different soft tyres.
I don't think people would
think that's a good point, actually.
No,
Dan.
but I don't think people would equate it with the tyre then. I think people that question wouldn't arise because they're on different circuits in different countries at different temperatures.
I think, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast a couple of weeks ago or not, but I think Pirelli have got it a bit wrong by adding a softer compound. I think the Ultra Soft should still be the softest compound. What they should have done was made the hardest compound super hard or ultra hard or something like that.
Well, there is.
No, it's hard. That's it.
No, there is an ultra hard.
No, there's a hard. It's hard. Oh, there's an ultra hard, but it should have been an extra hard as well, because then the medium one would have actually been the one in the middle. And instead, the medium isn't in the middle. The medium is on the harder side of the scale, which is confusing enough because you've got 4-5 soft tires and 2 sets of hard tires. It's a bit imbalanced.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because the medium is now not the medium.
It should be the middle.
Yeah.
But it isn't. So that's where I think they got it wrong by adding a soft compound. What they should have done is added another hard compound and had the medium as
I think Paul's
the
right.
middle.
I think they did it for the colours, because that whole Pirelli rainbow thing is a really cool way of advertising Pirelli.
Yeah,
it's why it's there. It's in the same way as why fucking you'll get some superhero films that, regardless of the content of them, will be edited to become a 12 because they can sell toys off the back of it then.
Yeah, to quote The Simpsons, Malibu Stacy's got a new hat.
Although having the mix of tyre compounds, having the 3 choices this year, did make some of the races more interesting.
Oh yeah, that's great. Having the
I
free
liked
choice
that.
on tyres. To be perfectly honest, fuck it. I think if they're going to make the tyres and they're going to bring them to every race, the team should be able to choose what tyres they want.
There was talk of that, but then Pirelli kicked off saying that's going to cost too much to bring all the tyres to all the races because they'd have to bring enough of every compound.
Well, stop making fucking 800 compounds.
Yeah, they'd have to bring enough of every compound for each race. And if you've seen how Sauber set their team gear up, they have like a set following them around.
Every Grand Prix they
It's
bring wet
weird
tyres to. Everyone.
Yeah, but it's not. But they don't ship it from one Grand Prix to the next. That's what I'm saying. They're quite often overlapping on races.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Every Grand Prix they bring wets and intermediates.
Yeah.
But teams aren't allowed as many sets of wets and inters as they are allowed sets of dries, because it's 12 sets of dries.
Yeah.
And it's only three inters and two,
My point
two sets
is
of wets.
they send.
So they bring less
My
tyres.
point is they send wet tyres to the desert, but they won't send extra soft tyres.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. yeah, right. Yeah, you can have that. But it's Pirelli are in that position where they can't do right for doing
Tell
it.
you what though, nothing says Formula 1 like a fucking half an hour conversation about tyre
I
compounds.
know, yeah, exactly, yeah. Welcome to the sport, anyone who's brand new to this. Good lord. But we did learn something else well, we thought we learned something else from the tyre test, didn't we?
We learned that Robert Kubica looked quite good.
He looked quick, and then we found out perhaps a little bit later that maybe he wasn't.
Turns out, if you're sat there with two hands, you're looking good. Two
Yeah.
hands are better than one.
Here comes the science bit. Concentrate.
Yeah.
Oh no. What? That's an old hair advert, wasn't it? An old shampoo advert.
Yeah.
Pantene
Was it something like that?
there's when they were explaining what the provitamins and the B5s.
Well, there you go. Lee remembers it. Was it Jennifer Aniston?
Was Jennifer
There we
Aniston.
go. That's why Lee remembers it.
So now you can think of Paul every time you see her.
I feel sick already.
Hell.
So
It's going to take longer tonight, isn't it?
Nah.
So we thought.
Yeah, it feels like 3 hours since we started already. So we thought Robert Kubica was
Notice I
quick.
said it'll take longer, not impossible.
And the times seem to show that Kubica was quite a lot faster than Sirotkin, and quite close to Lance Stroll in terms of performance. Although it's still a little bit slower than Massa, as you might expect. It's his first go in the 2017 car. He's driven the 2014 car earlier this year.
He's driven the 2017 car. He drove a Renault at Budapest.
Yeah, but the 2017 Williams.
The 2017
first time in the
Williams, yeah.
2017 Williams. He's not driven the 2017 Williams until last week's tyre test. It looked all right for him, didn't it? That he was a bit faster and a little bit off the pace of Massa, and then an article surfaced on the BBC's website.
Yes, Andrew Benson's done a bit of analysis of what his best guess at fuel loads and
Well, the thing is, it's qualifying runs, isn't it, that he's looking at, and it's almost hard to believe that you send somebody out on a 5-lap qualifying run with a lot of fuel on board. That wouldn't make sense because you're sending them out on a qualifying run. And when you compare qualifying runs and conditions and certain times of the day and the tyres that each driver was on, Andrew Benson calculates it to be around about 1.6 seconds, the difference between Sirotkin and Kubica, in that Sirotkin was faster than Kubica by 1.6 seconds. Which, okay, didn't look that far apart at the time, but you corrected it for the conditions and the tyres and everything. That's quite a lot.
Because Kubica's run, going from the article, was done on a 3-lap qualifying style run at 6 o'clock local time, which is the same time as qualifying is in the real race.
So the same time that Massa and Stroll went out on the Saturday.
Yeah, but it was on the soft tyres, not the ultra soft tyres that everyone was qualifying on. He did a let's have a look. I've lost the bloody time. His time compared okay with times done the previous Saturday on softer tyres, but it wasn't his fastest time. The fastest time that he actually set was on Tuesday, more importantly, in the morning.
So he was quicker the day before.
Yeah.
Does that point anything towards his physical fitness?
It's to do more with tyres and the setup of the car, we think, because of the conditions. And he will have gone faster on a slightly cooler conditions before the circuit had a chance to really heat up.
But we did say last week, how is he going to cope doing like a couple of race distances over a couple of days?
So, from looking like he was absolutely spot on, nailed on for the seat.
I genuinely think if he was going to get that drive, I think it would have been announced after the test.
Yeah, I think so too. Instead, what Williams have done is that they've asked both drivers to come in to do some simulator work this week, which is strange because when did the factories shut down for Christmas?
Which drivers?
Sorokin and Kubica.
Both, all right.
For what they're calling a post-test. I can't remember what they call it. Post-test survey or something like that. Surveying something.
I mean, that makes sense if they want to try and calibrate their simulator.
Yeah, it might be calibrating the simulator. It might just be to see. Well, hang on a second. Let's really just sort of, rather than do it unsafely on a circuit and try and confuse Robert by which button's which and try and tell him to put it in an engine mode whilst he's steering around some corners. Let's see what happens when we do it in the simulator. Where if he does crash, he's not going to kill himself. Because.
But we all know the dangers of simulators because Jenson Button said he managed to actually put the McLaren simulator in the Monaco harbour when he was testing in that.
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah, but again, he didn't actually physically put it in the harbour because it's a simulator.
No.
But then there must be, and Kubica himself has said, hasn't he, in the last couple of days, that he's running at 90% of his capabilities as he was previously. Which...
Yeah. But he says he's ready for a comeback. I mean,
he's not going to say he's not.
He says he's capable of a comeback.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably quite a few drivers who are capable of a comeback.
Yeah.
He doesn't. From being the
Schumacher was capable of a comeback.
Yeah, exactly. His comeback wasn't brilliant.
Yeah.
But he's gone from being like super almost like being quiet was confidence enough, and now that he's spoken, he's
not backtracking, but it's almost like he's trying to convince people.
I think he's trying to convince
himself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I think he's trying to convince himself now, because this really puts Williams in a bit of a pickle. Because I personally don't think if Sorokin is a better choice than Kubica, I don't think they'll plump for Sorokin because I don't think Stroll is ready to have another rookie put alongside him.
No.
I think
I also don't think it's going to help Williams when they have problems with their car next year and they turn around to the drivers for feedback and they go, "Whoa."
Yeah, exactly. Sorokin's been on the fringes of Formula One for a while with Sauber and with Renault and now with
but I
still with Williams. But
I still can't see him being the guy to have development work.
No, exactly. He's not experienced enough. That's what we're looking at here. So really, who does that leave Williams looking at? They haven't got any time to test Danny Kvyat.
And realistically, I know he's the test driver, but I mean, Paul di Resta hasn't driven since 2013 apart from Hungary.
Yeah,
in a race.
Yeah, and he's done some simulator work as well. Yeah, but I mean, Danny Kvyat, they haven't got any time to evaluate him. Pascal Wehrlein. Well, maybe, but I mean, they haven't got time really to evaluate him either. The only driver they know that knows known quantity is Paul di Resta, and he might do a Julian Palmer in the fact that he gets that seat by default because he's the least. I'm not saying he's the best choice now for that seat. I like Paul di Resta a lot, but he's the least worst choice out of the people that Williams have left in the pool.
I wouldn't be so quick, given. If let's say Andrew Benson's fucking bang on, he's nailed exactly what happened in that test.
He wouldn't have written that article
if he didn't think it.
Yeah.
Look, we thought he was the anti-BBC F1 department, but Jenny Gauco wrote an article with him, so they now have 2 people that know what they're talking about.
Yeah. But let's just for the sake of the discussion, we'll go with what he says as fact, right?
Yeah. Of course, by the time you're listening to this podcast,
I could be all fucking done and dusted.
Yeah.
Jenson Button's made a miraculous return. He's going to race Formula One alongside
he's not.
GT.
We'll get along to that in a bit. But yeah.
I wouldn't be so quick to rule out Massa.
They can't bring him back again.
Why?
Would he come back?
Yes.
With enough money. If Lawrence Stroll was like, right, we need Massa back.
I think he'd just do it.
No, we give you $5 million to come back last year.
You got 7, wasn't it?
I can't remember. $7 million for coming back last year.
Yeah.
Well, do you want 12?
I don't even think. I think they could offer him the same amount of money. I think he doesn't want to leave Formula One. He's talked himself out of still being in contention for the drive anyway.
That's what I mean. That's what Williams have either by driver or by team have left themselves with a pool of drivers who they either can't evaluate.
It's not a pool. It's more of a puddle.
Yeah, either they can't evaluate or they have evaluated and they're now thinking, oh, hang on a second, we don't really want to pick that driver. So, by Williams' own volition, almost, they've now got to choose the least worst option from that pool of drivers.
They've smedled it.
Yeah, they have a little. Yeah, yeah.
I think Dan, we've had a similar thought on this, that it would have been an easier choice to make if De Ristor had done a really, really good job in Hungary, rather than just getting it around the track without crashing it.
Yeah, I mean,
he did a relatively good job, but not something where you can say, well, that was brilliant. He did something where you can say, well, given the challenges that he's got, like never having been in the car, he did an okay job.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Williams still figuring out who's going to be driving that second car come pre-season testing?
No, because Paddy
so,
Lowe's in the team, and I think he will be pushing for decisions.
I still think we could get someone from left field in there. I
Do
mean,
you
not the band.
not the band. I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, the Williams lineup, Stroll and John
That
Lydon.
joke's not going to get old, is it?
But someone we're not expecting, someone that's not been mentioned.
Jenson Button.
Danny Kvyat. Unlikely.
He's on the list now, apparently.
Julian Palmer.
That's left field.
That's so left field.
It's
Jeremy
right.
Corbyn's with him.
John Eric Verne.
Yeah, so someone like that who's not been linked with the seat so far, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they surprised us.
Formula Lee winner Jeff Sharp.
You wouldn't be that surprised if they surprised us.
I would not be that surprised if they surprised us. I'm expecting the unexpected.
And to expect the unexpected makes the unexpected expected, so... Robert
I'm not going to be
Kubica, then.
surprised.
While we're being philosophical, the next thing I've got on my running order, Hamilton ponders life.
Hamilton does ponder life. He's considering when would be the best time to retire because he doesn't want to become a driver who just sort of falls back towards the end of the grid when all these young bucks are overtaking him and becoming better than him, and then retires on a low note.
In that case, I would probably say the end of 2020 when the engine regulations change, just in case the new
Genuinely
Mercedes
just gonna
engine
say
is a
that.
dog.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
He did make some good points, and my little thing there about writing down Hamilton ponders life. His auntie, who he was very close to, died of cancer, and one of the last things that she said to him was, "I spent all my life working to a point where I'd have time to do things, and I ran out of time." And he doesn't, he's always kept that in his mind, and he doesn't want to get to the point where he's, not got time to do things. There are other things he wants to experience in life outside of Formula One, which, whilst he's in Formula One, means he can't experience. And to be honest with you, kind of can't blame him for that. But
I just thought this was the start of a new series that we're going to run through the winters, like Hamilton ponders, and we're just going to have a different topic every week.
oh, you mean like Sad Fernando?
yeah. Next week, Hamilton ponders. The IKEA sale. But I mean, it's always one of those questions that somebody who is at the top of their game, top of their profession, top of their sport, it's always going to be asked, how long can you keep this up for? How long do you want to continue for? It's kind of negative press comments because, well, the only way for you is down now, isn't it? It's all a little bit...
Especially if you're British. Like, trying to stay away from negative press if you're British is pretty difficult at the very best of times.
Yeah.
The British press are fantastic at building people up, and they're knocking them right down again.
And there is a good chance over the next few years that Vettel or Alonso or Verstappen or Ricciardo is going to beat him.
Yeah, well, he mentions Verstappen in that little interview. He says that he hopes that Max can fight him in a more equal car next year, because even he'd pay to watch a fight between Hamilton and Verstappen.
So does that mean Bernie Ecclestone's now going to come out and say Mercedes engineers have been helping Renault with their engines?
Do you know what? I actually think after this year, I think Hamilton will look past Vettel almost a little. I think there's been times he's proven this year that, like, all things being equal, on 90% of the days he's got Vettel's number.
Yeah. There's something we didn't really touch on either, which we touched on a lot when it was a title fight between Hamilton and Rosberg. Was mind games, and how much Hamilton loves to play the mind games.
Is this what Ricciardo said?
No, I don't know
Ricciardo said in an interview that.
But Hamilton plays mind games, and he got to Vettel. He did. He did get to Vettel.
I don't think he even tried to.
He didn't have to do very much, to be fair. I mean, Ferrari got to Vettel before Hamilton did. So
I think Ferrari got to Vettel, but I think what got to Vettel was the realization of being in a position to fight for a world championship with somebody, and the person you're fighting being faster than you, and he's never had that before.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, he's never actually had to fight for a world championship. But I think that might be a difference as well.
Coming out of,
I don't know, because I mean, you look at his debut season, and he was fighting for a world championship.
No, not Hamilton. Vettel.
Oh, Vettel, right.
He's never had to fight for a world championship.
No, he hasn't. He's just got in the car and won.
Yeah.
Even when Webber kept himself in the title fight for that year, it was still Webber against the team and Vettel, wasn't it?
Yeah,
almost. Yeah,
not bad for a number two.
Yeah, absolutely. But psychologically, the Mercedes team, I think, as well, like to play mind games, which is why they suit to Hamilton so well. The two silver arrows coming out of the trees at Ascari, coming out into the grandstands there at Monza, side by side, not letting anyone else pass, even on the slowdown lap. Psychologically, that's powerful. Well, Mercedes will know that they did that on purpose.
You're saying that Toto and Lauda are devious bastards?
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
I still was watching the video the other day of Niki Lauda resigning live on air from RTL. It's hilarious. Dan, do you know about this? You missed, was it last week's podcast? I think we talked about it.
I did hear that he wasn't working for them anymore.
No, he resigned live on air, and it's hilarious.
He kind of didn't tell anyone before he did it.
He left his co-anchor, who'd been with him since 1997. Just left him on screen, and he didn't know what to say. He was just like, yeah, very good. It's definitely worth a watch. YouTube it. It's funny.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Yeah, Chris, if there was only somewhere we could put the link.
We'll put the link on somewhere.
How long?
MSN Formula One for.
How much longer do you think Hamilton's got? Because it could be 2 years. Because if he finds himself getting overtaken or looking like he's going to be overtaken in the 2021 car, he's not going to want to stick around for that.
Well, how long have Red Bull been building their car for next year? But
you've still got the wild card of the Renault engine in that. It's all fine and good saying Red Bull are going to have a great car, but Renault's reliability has just been, shite.
And Mercedes believe in the W08 so much that they're just going to develop it. They've pretty much said exactly the same thing. They're not going to completely redesign it.
They're knocking all the diva out of it.
Yeah.
I think the top bottom of it is that Hamilton's got that chance to equal Schumacher, hasn't he? Now he's got a really, really good chance of that.
Yeah.
But what do you do then? So
he can afford to have a bad season or two.
Oh, yeah.
How old is he? 32.
Yeah.
It's not old, is it?
No. But I mean, until like the engine reg changes, because I still think that no matter how close it looks, there's a little bit of me that cynically thinks that maybe competition might be slightly helped to look closer than it actually is in Formula One at the minute.
But he can easily be talking to Mercedes and see how they think engine development's going. Talking to the other teams, see how they think their engine development's going.
Do you not think, though, if these engines are only going to stay like this for another 3 years, that especially the likes of Honda, which have already got a dog of an engine anyway, do you really think they're going to continue to pump millions and millions of pounds into something that's only going to last for another 3 seasons?
No, I mean, he can talk to them about their 2021 engines.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But
He doesn't have to stay with Mercedes, even if their 2021 engine is going to be a dog.
Well, my thing is, I genuinely believe that he's going to win the next 3 World Championships.
Well, the thing is, would Lewis Hamilton do that? Because he's never driven a car without a Mercedes engine in it.
Yeah, every lap he's done in Formula One has been powered by Mercedes.
I don't think that matters. Does it really? Does it really matters to somebody?
Well, when he was winning races for McLaren, he said, "Oh, I've been part of the McLaren family for ages." Switched teams, started winning races with Mercedes. Mercedes have been there with me since I first got into a car.
It's just all fucking.
Yeah, but it's like everywhere having the best fans.
Yeah, that is true. Has anyone done a YouTube compilation yet of all the Lewis's best fans moments?
No, but somebody should do it right now. Stop
The
listening.
IKEA sale has the best fans.
Charlie.
Yep.
But let's just say though, he does win the next three World Championships. Do you retire then? If you say you've equalled Michael Schumacher, yeah?
But has he equalled Schumacher on wins by that point?
Probably not.
What is he on now? 60-something, 62? So he's 29 behind. Even still, that's 3 seasons. You're still looking at 9 or 10 wins a season.
Yeah.
That's a big ask.
It's a big ask. No, but what I mean is World Championships. Because that's the big one. Wins would be nice, but World Championships the one that people felt would never be beaten.
Yeah.
So I think you keep an eye on how you're doing, and it doesn't matter if you win the World Championship. It's am I racing as hard as I ever have?
This is the thing. Even the thing is, even if he thought who knows what's going to happen in 3 years? But by now we might all, if we cross our fingers and hope, might be a bowl of radioactive dust by then. But if you've got your 7 World Championships, you have to come back. You have to keep going, because next year might see you leaving with 8 and the record rather than just equaling it.
Yeah. So, are you still finding it fun?
Yeah,
That's the big question.
I reckon for a Formula One driver, like ask Fernando Alonso about still finding it fun. No matter what's going on track, I think that little pick me up of when you open your phone and find your bank app, and you look at your current account, and then you look at your investment accounts and go, "Do you know what? This is pretty good fucking fun."
Well, I'm sure Alonso is asking himself, "Am I driving as well as I ever have?"
Yeah,
I think the answer to that is
given
yes.
given the car he's in, quite possibly, yeah.
yeah.
So why would, forgetting his banking app, forgetting how tough the last couple of years has been,
Yeah.
he can potentially still fight for world championships. Is he still finding being a Formula One driver fun? So why not stay in the sport?
Speaking of Alonso, I said this in the last podcast. I'd be interested to see what you thought of it. Do you think this year that was a loud noise?
That was me putting my banking app down.
Jeez, fucking
That's
hell.
quite full, that banking app.
When the app's heavy, well done you.
I'm Fernando Alonso, ain't it? just like
just
now.
that little minus in front of it that's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is when it's in red? Oh, crap.
I thought it just meant I was getting paid by Ferrari.
But surely black's bad. But
Lee!
damn it. I accused you for that last week, didn't I?
Yes. And that was all because of some Canadians.
Yes. Well, you were being pretty racist last week.
Anyway.
He genuinely was.
Move on.
Move on. All I said-
Canadians.
All I said was Canadians can't play football.
He said much worse stuff.
Shush. And now start talking.
Do you think that the years in the shit McLaren have reminded people how good Alonso is? Because when he was Fernando Alonso driving well in an okay Ferrari, He was just Fernando Alonso doing okay in a Ferrari.
Yeah, could have done better, but we didn't realise how much of that was the car.
But now he's got an absolute fucking pig of a car, and you can see how good he is. Do you think it's made him look like the best driver on the field again all of a sudden?
A little bit, but I think a lot of it is like the same thing that's happened with Kubica.
Yeah.
When he left the sport, he was a fairly promising driver. Now it looks like he's coming back. Oh, he was going to be the best driver ever and win 20 world championships. Because he's not got the chance to fight for the championship, he gets built up in people's heads to be so much better than... Well, fantasy is always better than reality, isn't it?
It doesn't hurt going to Indianapolis, though, and almost winning your first go, does it?
Not at all.
Fernando
But
Alonso
Max Chilton was ahead of him at one point. Remember that.
This is true.
Fernando Alonso was the best driver last year to get a rookie award.
Yes, I agree.
I think his years in the McLaren, which we've somehow wound this onto Alonso and McLaren, haven't we?
Yeah.
Talking about Hamilton's life. I think his years in the second stint at McLaren, I think they've sharpened his tools. I think he's forgotten. I think not forgotten as such, but he's using skills in this McLaren that he's perhaps not had to use since his karting days.
And it's probably made him hungrier for the win.
Yeah, and I think it's probably made him a better driver.
But if you think about the last couple of years, when he was alongside Jenson Button,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he was blowing Button away.
No, I think you're probably right. Of course I'm going to say that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Jenson Button is a very good driver.
Yeah.
I think Fernando Alonso's better.
Yeah.
And I think if this was making Alonso a better driver, we should really have seen that over the last couple of years.
Yeah. I must say, I always still think, as a fucking militant Button fan, I do think he got the raw end of the deal sometimes, where people think of like underestimating him and what he probably should have done through his whole career, considering he's had now Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton as teammates and has stood up to them pretty fucking well. You know.
Yeah. Oh, he is a damn good driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really disagree with that. We'll move on to the next thing on the list, which Lee, you'll be pleased to know says Jenson Button.
Yay! Jenson Corner.
It is Jenson Corner.
It is Jenson Corner, but if you want to watch Jenson next season, you're going to have to get up at ridiculous o'clock to watch Super GT from Japan.
On what channel?
Good question.
Yeah.
Apparently all the races were live on YouTube last season.
Oh, well, that'll do.
And on Nismo TV, which I think is something to do with Nissan.
Fair enough.
Where do you point your satellite dish to get that?
Good question.
Into the sky.
Yeah, up. Yeah, the Japanese Super GT, which apparently is going to be running the same or very similar regs to DTM, because they are trying to merge the two series.
Because DTM is supposed to be finishing?
No, DTM now is not finishing. Mercedes are pulling out at the end of 2018. Audi and BMW are staying, and Gerhard Berger's in charge
Of DTM?
of DTM.
What?
So it's now DT fucking M.
Because somebody wouldn't give him Toro Rosso
With
what he
3
wanted.
cars?
Um,
Hang on, who's staying?
Audi and BMW.
Audi have now just joined Formula E.
By pulling out a WEC, but they're staying in DTM.
Ah, right, okay, they're staying in DTM.
Yeah.
It's now just
Mercedes-
Formula Verline.
Yeah, Mercedes are pulling out of DTM to do...
To do Formula E
Yeah.
at the end of the 2018 season.
Yeah.
And the way the regulations between DTM and Super GT 500, which is the top class of the Japanese Super GT series, they're going to have the same or very similar at first, and then the same specifications, and they're trying to merge it into one big championship split between Germany and Japan.
Oh, wow, okay. So World DTM, GT?
World GT or something, or
Yeah.
Super TM.
WTM.
Could be.
Basically, Jenson was announced as a Honda driver for Super GT at Honda Thanks Day, which is an event that the Honda set up at Motegi. I don't know why they didn't do it at Suzuka, which is a circuit they own. But they did it at Motegi anyway, which is where they have the
Always wondered how that's
MotoGP.
pronounced.
Motegi, I think that's how it's pronounced.
Motegi?
Motegi? No, Motegi. And
Mainly because Honda own Motegi as well.
well, there you go. That'd be why. And
It's their bike circuit. Suzuka's their car circuit.
and they had old McLaren. Stoffel was there as well, and they drove out the old MP4 4 and MP4 6. The 88 and the 91 championship winning cars, McLaren. I don't know which driver was in which car, but it was almost like a passing of the torch of JB from McLaren to Honda, because now obviously
Was that
McLaren.
his last duty as a McLaren?
I think
driver?
so, yeah, because now McLaren and Honda are now splitting.
Yeah.
JB's going with Honda and not with McLaren, because of course Lando Norris has taken over the reserve driver slot at McLaren for next year.
Yes.
So yeah, Jenson Button will be
So
racing.
it's like just in any divorce, who gets custody of the kids?
Right.
So Jenson Button will be racing in Super GT, in what I believe is a Works Honda drive.
It would seem to be, yes.
Although they have an incredible amount of Works Honda cars in Super GT, it's very hard to tell which is a Works Honda and which is not.
Yeah.
It's not known at the moment which of the 5 Works Honda teams he'll be driving for and who his driving partner will be, because they have driver changes in there as well. There is an article on the website that Sian very kindly wrote for us, because she knows how to write and we don't. Or she can be bothered to write. And
She
we
knows how to write good.
Yeah.
She does good, England.
But of course, Button has already got a bit of experience in Super GT because he made his debut at the Suzuka 1000 Kilometres back in August.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of Works teams from Honda in there. So it just depends who's going to be
Honda
putting
factory teams,
Yeah.
basically, yeah. And then you've got there's a few Toyota teams in there, isn't there? And Nissan, and I think that's it.
Let's have a look. The teams for 2017 were Lexus,
There was a Lexus team as well.
Honda, and Nissan.
No Toyota. I thought Toyota were in Super GT.
No, not in the top class, not in GT 500. They were in the lower class of GT 300.
Oh, okay.
Which
Though Lexus are a brand of Toyota anyway, aren't they?
I'm not sure.
yes, they're posh Toyota,
Like the Japanese Mercedes.
sort of, yeah. Lexus featuring such great drivers as Heikki Kovalainen.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm done now.
See, I just imagine him in some sort of private hire Lexus, just picking people up from the airports and dropping them off.
At
Little
2008,
cap on him.
2008 Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yeah, could I get your bags, please, sir?
Yeah.
Sponsored by Uber. I got an Uber for the first time last week.
Did it work?
I had to give the driver directions.
When you were in a city that you don't live in.
I was in a city that I hadn't lived in for 26 years. He had a sat nav and I had to direct him.
Okay.
Not ideal.
Not really.
We got to where we wanted to go. Eventually. It'll be worth watching JB's performance in that, just to see how he gets on in something that is quite a way removed from F1.
Yeah. Nice to see him do well, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm just looking for any other drivers. Oh, Bertrand Baguette is in Super GT as well.
Bertrand Baguette.
Yes, the Belgian driver that sounds like a loaf. And aside from that, there's not a great deal of other drivers that I've heard of. Oh, Kazuki Nakajima keeps knocking around. But yeah, the season is due to start. I should have really written all this down.
You should have
shouldn't I?
done. You should have done. Left-handed googling is often perilous during podcast recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, the season is due to start next year because they haven't actually announced when the race dates are, and Jenson Button apparently is the only confirmed driver for 2018.
Well, there you
Jensen
go.
wins again.
Happily. So yeah, best of luck to JB in his venture with Honda.
And talking to people with ventures, we were talking last week about trying to do a season review this week. Sean Kelly was going to join us for it, but he's a little bit busy tonight.
Yes, he is. And with good reason.
Yes, he is currently in the finishing touches of making a documentary.
Yeah.
About football.
Soccer as the Americans
Soccer,
call
as the
it.
Americans call it. Football, as we call it.
Yeah.
He's doing a documentary on the Columbus Crew, Major League Soccer team, who are in danger of being completely uprooted after their most successful season possibly ever, and moved across most of the US to Austin in Texas.
All because the owner has fallen out with the city council.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
So Sean is currently making that. Knowing Sean, it will be stat-packed.
Oh, absolutely. Hashtag save the crew.
Yes.
Keep them in Columbus, basically, is what all the fans want, because the fans support the team. And if the team moves to Austin...
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to get to the games.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to build a whole new fan base in Austin? That'd be really tough.
Yeah, I can't...
Doesn't make sense to me.
No, I've never understood the whole American sports thing of it's a franchise, the owner can move it where they want.
Well, like Los Angeles Raiders, Oakland Raiders, and now where are they?
In 2 years' time, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
They're moving to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Mental.
Or Los Angeles Rams that spent about 20 years in St. Louis. Halfway across the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And now just moved back to Los Angeles.
And the Brooklyn Dodgers moved as well, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah, they're now the Los Angeles Dodgers.
What? From Brooklyn?
That's a bit of a trek for the fans.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry.
And the New York Giants moved to San Francisco.
Okay.
Rounders. Oh, I'm going to get shit for that.
Yeah, you will.
I've just called it Rounders. Get it. So Sean will be joining us for a season review sometime soon when he's got the chance. We will share the link to his documentary because it's going to be going up on YouTube in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
He did say that he was name dropping at a cluster bomb level yesterday when I was talking to him that he was meeting legendary American football player Alexei Lalas.
Oh, cool.
Who sadly doesn't look like a member of the Spin Doctors anymore.
No.
Google that guy. He had a hair game.
He had a strong hair game.
Strong hair and beard game. I think we're going to get Lee's.
I think what you have to do, Lee, whilst we're podcasting is...
what's his name?
Alexei Lalas.
And then you're going to have to Google 94 World Cup after that.
We're just waiting.
With his name. What? How do you spell it?
Yeah, I'll write it for you.
Oh, this is riveting radio, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Have we got something else to talk about whilst I'm trying to find...
No, well, the next thing on the list is Total Shunt, so you should actually be doing something else with your hands.
Oh, no. Hang on, wait there. This is brilliant. Brilliant broadcasting going on right here.
Dan's found a picture on his phone a lot quicker than Lee did.
Oh, my word.
That is
Yes.
some spectacular hair.
Go away. Oh, no, come back to... Oh, my God.
It's a strong hair game, isn't
He
it?
looks like a fucking Viking.
Does a little bit.
Jesus. Is that him when he's all tidied up?
That's him these days.
Yeah, that's what you look like in 94 on your laptop.
He looks younger now.
So anyway, Sean Kelly is you'll know him perhaps a little bit better as Virtual Stat Man. He's been on the show a few times. He's making that documentary, and we will of course put a link up to it when it's ready.
Yes, and he will be coming on the show soon to talk about everything that's been going on this season in his own inimitable style.
We'd like a season review actually, wouldn't we, with Sean?
It would be really good.
It would be amazing. All the stats that he's got just loaded in his head, ready to go.
Yes, I'm sure that'll be coming up sometime in the next couple of weeks. Until then, we'll just have to fill, just like we've been doing for the last few minutes. Lee, have you got your Total Shunt ready?
Almost.
Chris, you have a guitar.
And I just hit my microphone, so that's the second really bad noise I've made.
If you pass me the guitar, I'll make an incredibly bad noise.
Total shunt, total shunt. No more racing, total shunt. Everybody, this is close as you'll get to actual fun over the winter time, apart from Formula Lee Winter Series, which is
And
coming
Christmas.
up next. And
That's quite
Christmas. That's quite good. Or Hanukkah, if you are that way inclined. Look out, here comes a total shunt.
I just also point out it's Sean's birthday next week.
People with birthdays in winter are not good.
I know, mine's 3 weeks after Christmas.
Yeah, that's not good. Too close.
Here's your joint present. Great.
Let's go.
Who sent this one in?
This was Chris Rowden.
Ah.
Who asked for a shout out earlier, so that'll do.
There you go. I was born
Correct way to start, by the way. I was born.
in 1978.
So 39 or so.
Bloody kids these days.
I only raced in one Formula One Grand Prix.
Andre Lotterer.
Oh God, I forgot his bloody name.
Guido van der Garde.
No, he did a full season with Caterham.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many of those did he actually race?
Ah, good point.
There's a difference between racing and poodling.
Yeah, Guido van der Garde did a full season with Caterham and then decided he was a Sauber driver.
Stefan Sarazan.
Ooh,
That's a good
call.
shout.
He's been on before.
We've had him before, and I couldn't
Yeah.
remember his name.
The engine I used was an Alfa Romeo.
Ooh, so that'd be 84. Oh no, hang on. I only competed in
Not
one
if
Formula
he was
1
born
race.
in 78.
Because the last Alfa Romeo engine before this Ferrari badged, Alfa Romeo badged Ferrari engine that Sauber were going to be using was 1985, which would have made him 7.
Don't look at me. I'm just reading the clues.
IndyCar had a Alfa Romeo engine briefly, didn't they?
Possibly.
In the 90s.
Can you read the question again?
Question 1 was I was born in 1978.
Do you want all the questions again? or just
Yeah.
one? I was born in 1978. I've only raced one F1 Grand Prix. I had an Alfa Romeo engine.
Oh, I had an Alfa Romeo engine, so,
So
not
not
necessarily,
necessarily
in that race.
for the Formula One race.
No, but don't take into account too much the way I've said it, because I'm just saying I'm not, like, it says my engine was an Alfa Romeo. Before I said the engine I had was an Alfa Romeo. I'm just taking the words that are on the screen
Right.
and giving them to you. There's no.
I want to go with...
Could be a team rather than...
Yes. Yeah.
Team who took part in only one Formula One race.
Remember the Lola MasterCard team? What did they have in the back of the car? Because
Pockets full of misery.
Were
'Cause-
Lola something different in other series?
Yes, because they made chassis and had teams in IndyCar and
In 97, wasn't it? The Lola team. They made the car that went to the race.
then they
Went
lost
bust.
out for they didn't make it through qualifying.
I think they
because-
were Lola Ferrari, you know.
No, that was the Italian porn star with the giant breasts. She was the one on Eurotrash with the 52-inch chest, Chris.
But it's easy to confuse the Lola MasterCard and the Lola Ferrari.
No, I just had to get that in there. Everybody stop Googling Lola Ferrari. You will get in trouble at work. That is completely NSFW.
As is the Lola MasterCard, really.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. The chassis was built by
Lola.
Lola. Was it Lola or did Dallara actually build the chassis?
No, I think Lola built the chassis and it actually put the company out of business.
It looked good.
Yeah.
The car looked good.
The livery looked good.
I don't think it had an Alfa Romeo engine in it, though. Anyway, next...
we
didn't give
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Lola team from 97.
Are you Lola? That's the first one. That is our first guess.
Lola from 97, there you go.
No,
Okey-doke.
just Lola in general, because if they were born in 1978, they couldn't be the Lola 1987 team. They would just be Lola.
Okay, Lola, fine.
I was named after a famous racer.
Lola Ferrari?
Oh dear. Yeah, next clue.
My designer also worked for Ferrari. Not Ferrari, McLaren. Why did I say Ferrari? Lower Ferrari.
So we're pretty much definitely talking about a team or a car or
a driver or something to do with motorsport.
Well, probably not a driver if they were
Is
designed.
there a team who ditched a car after one Grand Prix?
Yes.
That had an Alfa Romeo engine?
Yes. I'm going to throw a guess in here now. The Brabham BT45 fan car.
Was that Alfa Romeo engined?
Brabham Alpha.
Fair enough. Was it the 85 car, and they reverted back to because that was in Sean's article. I'm sure it was. They reverted back to the 84 car because it was just the 85 car was terrible.
Uh-oh.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Twice.
So are you saying that the 1985 Brabham fan car was born in 1978?
No, the number of it was the BT45.
Sorry, the BT45. Ah, yeah, that'd be about right.
That'd be about right, because it was when Bernie Eccleston was in charge of the team. Yeah.
All right, okay.
I think we might be onto something here. Next clue.
My drivers were British and Austrian.
Niki Lauda. And... God, I think...
Jonathan Palmer.
John Watson.
John Watson.
John Watson and Niki Lauda. I'm fairly sure on Lauda.
On the Brabham, we're talking about the Brabham fan car.
Yeah.
Right. With the illegal fan underneath it that sucked it closer to the floor.
No, it was for cooling.
Right, of course it was.
Yes.
I think I want a guess after this.
Are you the Brabham BT45 fan car?
Is that what you want?
Are we all agreed on that?
Yep.
For now, yes.
In my first quali, I finished second.
Yep.
I think we're on the right track.
Yeah, I think that. Yep.
I caused quite some controversy.
Yep.
Eccleston got me to should this withdraw?
Yes, because he owned the team at the time.
Right, no, sorry, there was no two there, and it confused me. Spaffer question. I only raced in the Swedish Grand Prix.
Are you the Brabham BT45 fan car?
I only am, aren't I?
Yes. Good effort.
I'm getting me form back.
That was good, that one. I enjoyed.
That was very good. Nice one, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Very in the spirit of the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
That is brilliant.
I'll
Right.
make a cartoon character next.
Formula Lee Winter Series update.
Yes.
I'm gonna be updating the times on the website, but we had a suggestion, and I want to see what you three guys think to this.
Well,
And
okay.
It was a suggestion from Jonathan Mills, who said rather than putting names and times on the website with updates every day or so during a race, just put the times so you don't know who's winning. You just know what time you've got to get.
What, put up the winning time?
Just put up a list of the times. So
So the
people
top
got-
10 times, but not the driver who's
not the
made
driver
them.
who's got them.
Oh, okay, fine. So
So
know,
you'll know how you're doing. You'll know what to aim for, but there's no spoilers.
Yeah, so if you're fighting for the Formula Lee Winter Series Championship, you won't know if your rivals have even put that time in or not.
Yeah.
That's clever.
What he's actually said is, so the person who set the time would know whereabouts they place instead of everyone knowing. This saves the sight of seeing Jeff Sharp at the top.
Until at least that week's challenge is over.
Yes.
To be fair, it's been a while since Jeff's been at the top, hasn't it?
It has. Phoning it in.
Remember what we were saying just before about people that probably should have retired before they start slipping back towards the midfield.
I don't know. His car's not been getting the same updates as the other ones have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this the car on the latest challenge hasn't actually had an update since around about 21 years ago.
Yeah. So do you want to remind?
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to remind everybody what the challenge is, Paul?
Yeah, the challenge for the first race of the Formula Lee Winter Series is a lap of Australia in the wet in the 1996 Williams. The car which, and I'm quoting Jeff on this from a message he sent us during the week, the car that feels like the back end isn't connected to the front end.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Top 20 places get points in the new regime, just to make it more competitive. And at the moment, to get into the points, you are looking at 152.660.
Okie dokie.
And that's with a week to go. You've got until 7 o'clock UK time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Monday the 11th of December
Okay.
to get your time into us. Send it in on a Facebook message, Twitter private message, or email us. We'll give you the details of that at the end.
Yeah, and there are a whole raft of prizes available for the Formula E Winter Series.
There are, one of which we will be revealing officially very soon, because apparently they have now posted it.
Well, yes, I shall hopefully be able to confirm that very shortly. Perhaps by next week.
Fucking ace, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to have to up your game if you want to win this. Oh, you're not eligible.
Yeah, podcast people can't win.
No, but I can make the second person win it. That really fuck it up.
That'd involve you being as good as the
it's not
people
going
that are up
to
there.
happen. It's not going to happen.
Not a chance. Mailbag this week. We have things.
Oh God, it's true. We just realised. Yeah. Only because I don't have time to do it anymore. But having a child really does cost you half a second.
So Schumacher was right all those years ago.
Next thing you'll know, you'll be just going around 130R and Alonso will just appear on your right hand side and just overtake you. You'll be like, damn, I knew it.
Right, we have we've got quite a few in this week. Ed Forsyth, or Ed Force One, as we've been prone to call him in the past.
Yeah.
Lewis's comments on Formula E.
Is this the
I think this is the Nick Heidfeld thing.
Yes.
Who suffered a world of disappointment. Oh yeah, he was there.
Yeah, Lewis posted a picture on his Instagram of Nick Heidfeld's crash in the first ever Formula E race, saying, "Just seen some Formula E stuff. This looks dangerous. Hope Nick was all right," or something along those lines.
Well, that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Nick Heidfeld replied saying, "Yeah, mostly."
Don't forget, it was that race that actually kicked this whole thing off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis, if you're gonna commentate on a sport, try and get a bit more up to date.
No, to be fair, all we've done since Formula E launched was say how fucking badly it's promoted. So I think is if Lewis Hamilton
more promotion.
If Lewis Hamilton sees a thing and goes, "Oh fuck, was that from a Formula E race?" and posts it thinking it's fucking today, that's the fucking sport's fault, not his.
Also, I saw an interesting stat about Nick Heidfeld, which I think a listener posted to us.
Oh yes,
he holds the record amount of podiums without a win in Formula 1. 13, is it?
Yeah, and
now he holds the record amount of podiums without a win in Formula E. He is the record holder in both categories.
Fuck.
I'm going to go to Formula E to win things. No.
So, this is a new attraction in Nick Heidfeld's world of disappointment.
Yeah.
The missing top step exhibition.
The two-step podium.
Let's see, what else have we got? There's one from Chris Rowden wanting a shout out. You got more than that. You got a total shunt this week.
Yeah, regular listener Mike McPherson has also asked for a shout out, particularly because he'd be raising a wee dram to us. So thanks for that one, Mike.
Dram responsibly.
Yeah, please do.
Mike always does.
Yes.
He always tells us what he's drinking, because the guy's a serious whiskey connoisseur.
Which we like.
Yes. 3/4 of this podcast he fueled by decent whiskey.
The other quarter is Lee.
Fueled by your tears.
Ben Constable said to me, give a shout out to his friend Amy Truesdale, who became a double world para taekwondo champion.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And also won the para IWS games actually this afternoon.
Wow,
Well
congratulations, Amy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And she also found out round about the same time she's about to become an aunt as well, because her sister Chloe is expecting her first child.
But all of the things happening in all of the day.
Yeah, so that is big shout out to the entire Truesdale family.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
For people who don't speak Northern, that's aunt, not ant.
I've been in the north in the last week. I'm trying to temper my accent. You should have heard me when I got off at train the other day in Leeds. Bloody hell, Sean couldn't understand a bloody word I was saying.
All this, and she's an insect? Jesus.
About to become an insect.
Yeah. All because her sister decided to have a child. You were there. You failed. You must be an ant.
Next thing is this massive ant comes into the house. Go, well, you didn't tell me.
No, but seriously, that's amazing
Kafka,
news,
isn't it?
Yeah, amazing news and well worthy of a shout out. All of the good news happening to Amy.
Yeah, definitely. Tom Jones, not that one. Will Brendan Hartley's lifting driving style help him with the Honda next year?
Wouldn't be unusual.
No.
Yes. I was desperately looking for some titles.
Oh dear.
Don't know, to be honest.
Tremendous.
Well, his lifting is because he lifts quite early and
Lifts and recharges early because that's what you have to do in WEC. Because obviously they've had the temperamental hybrids there for the last couple of years.
Well, because he'll have to charge that Honda up more so if the next year's Honda has the same issues that 2017.
The last three had, where it can't actually harvest.
Yeah, it would probably help him over Pierre Gasly in the team battle, but whether or not it'll help him in terms of
Absolute position.
yeah, that's thank you for rescuing me there, Dan. I don't think it will. That Honda was 11% down on power in comparison to the Mercedes, and was it the Renault 6% down on the Mercedes, and Ferrari just a couple of percent. Ferrari don't have an awful lot to close power wise. Renault, it's still attainable with a couple of tweaks here and there. You'd be foolish to think that Mercedes aren't going to try and push to get more power out of it, and Honda still have a mountain to climb.
Honda need more. Honda need to basically get more power and more reliability through the engine.
Yeah.
And I think his driving style might help him, but at the end of the day, if you've got a pile of crap power in the car, you're just going to have a pile of crap power in the car, regardless of how much you try and recharge.
Yeah.
And all the best for next season to both Toro Rosso drivers.
Yeah, I mean, what?
And to Honda.
Yeah,
Honda.
absolutely. Well, no, yeah, because Honda needed a clean break as well. I mean, they have been badmouthed by McLaren, and vice versa. It was a strained relationship, should we say? But the only thing I'm worried about with Honda is we know how explosive French toast gets when engine things don't go his way.
I think it's going to be a very different dynamic, at least to the Ron era relationship. The impression that I got was Ron said to Honda, "This is the engine that we want. Make it so." Whereas now they're a lot more free to say, "Here's the engine we're giving you.
Yeah.
Design the car around it."
Yeah, I think that'll actually help Toro Rosso in quite a lot of ways. And I think after the outburst against Renault, French toast is going to be kept on a bit of a tighter leash by Helmut Marko after that. Because if anyone does the shouting at suppliers in the Red Bull organisation, it's Helmut Marko.
Yeah.
Franz Tost is there to run the Toro Rosso team, but if there's any problems with anything that need to be sorted out, Helmut Marko does the sorting.
I think the other thing you've got to remember is that there's going to be a different dynamic for Franz Tost and Toro Rosso, because they know at the end of the day all they're doing is fucking beta testing a Honda engine just in case Red Bull want it.
Yeah, there's no real hope of fighting for wins for them, is there?
And you've got
and I'm not sure it's just in case Red Bull want it. Cause
it's the Red Bull stopgap for 2 seasons, or possibly longer if Aston Martin don't come in.
Yeah.
Aston Martin do want a fair few special regulations brought in, though, don't they, to help newer engine suppliers, such as a limit on how many engines or time that you can run on the dyno without getting they don't think it's fair that, for example, Honda can just throw millions of pounds or dollars or yen engines and stick them on the dyno, and if they're no good, throw them away, build another one, put it on until something works. I mean, perhaps it's a bit of a miracle that Honda are only 11% down, but Aston Martin maybe don't have that capacity to just do that straight away. And another, if Cosworth were to re-enter Formula One, they might not have the the resources to do that either.
So, is Aston Martin still like a separate, completely independent entity, or is that not Mercedes now?
No, Aston Martin is owned. I think 5% of Aston Martin is owned by Mercedes.
Car companies are so confusing, aren't they?
Yeah. Aston Martin did used to be owned by Ford.
Yeah, maybe
at one point.
I was thinking.
They're not anymore. They were after that global financial crisis of 2008, was it?
Was that when brands were picked up by different people all over the place?
Yeah, Ford sold off a lot of the stuff that they didn't believe was profitable, and Aston Martin was one of them.
And Formula One ended up with 2 Lotuses.
yeah. 2 Lotus Renaults almost.
Yeah, Daimler, who own Mercedes, own 5% of Aston Martin, but they're a public listed company.
Right. Okay.
So they are not wholly owned by
anyone in particular.
Sorry, they're a private limited company, but they have a variety of big shareholders.
Right.
But Mercedes have a minority stake in them. I think most of Aston Martin are actually owned by equity funds. So
people like Longbow Capital.
Yeah, they're basically run by men in suits rather than men with clipboards. And
Ericsson confirmed for Red Bull.
Could you imagine that he still doesn't score a point?
What else have we got? Adam Tyler. Ideas to grow F1 in the US. How about sell the commercial rights to an American media company that's got experience of sports, team ownership, broadcasting and sports broadcasting, and bring it into the 21st century by increasing the digital aspect of it, and then show it on a TV channel where they don't have to break off for adverts.
Which is what they're doing starting from 2018.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
You can always water it well and keep it in a window as well.
You've got to use the right amount of fertilizer as well.
And those little plastic, like the little white balls you see in the soil to help irrigation.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought that was polystyrene packaging from when you bought the plant.
Also, can I just ask Dan's opinion on the new logo?
I've got no problem with the logo. I do not like the font that they've used.
That's a pretty big problem with the logo, because the logo is just font.
No, I mean the words underneath.
Underneath it says Formula One in words.
Oh, right, okay, I get you.
FIA Formula One World Championship, it says, doesn't it, or something in words
using
underneath?
some kind of weird retro futuristic type font.
Yeah. Funnily enough, in the media pack that the designers put out, that's exactly how they've described the font, as retro futuristic.
Oh God.
See, that's some of my favourite words put together into a sentence.
I just want to. I'm still seeing posts on social media of people bitching about the logo.
That's why you like Fallout so much.
Yeah.
Can we just call an end to this now? All listeners, anyone listening, just get over it. It's fine. It's a logo. You'll get used to it.
Do you know what it has made me learn? I quite like the new logo. Did it need change? No. Does it matter it's been changed? No. But I
think it will matter eventually.
Yeah,
I think it will matter because it's easier to reproduce digitally.
Yeah, of course. But what I noticed is the old Formula One logo, like with the ziggy zaggy design.
Yeah,
is shit. The old Formula One logo is shit. It's not iconic.
Which is exactly what Ross Brawn said. Yeah,
it's crap. The better logo than that was the old Formula One World Championship.
The old FIA Formula One with the car.
With the car.
Yeah.
That looked quite cool. But
again, quite dated now.
But dated, yeah.
It was time for an update, and I think what we're looking at mostly is children posting on Twitter and Instagram, like memes to do with the F1 logo and how it's such a terrible idea. So Get over it. It's fine.
9 times out of 10, people that are posting stuff don't even fucking watch.
And I also saw your comment on the ESPN F1 thing where somebody was just like, it's a majority of people hate it. It's like, well, no, not actually.
Yeah.
No,
The majority of people don't give a shit about Formula One, don't give a shit about the logo. So
Just want racing. That's what people want. It's good racing.
Yeah, complaining about the logo. It's similar to all these people saying, I'm never going to watch Doctor Who again because it's a woman Doctor Who and that's not realistic.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Doctor Who for ages because I didn't like Peter Capaldi.
It's a new Doctor, give him a chance. That's what I've been like every time there's been a new Doctor Who since I was...
Yeah, no, I just didn't like
11.
him in. I thought it was weird.
But back to Formula One.
Back to Formula One and back to what we've had. What we've had in... Stephen Humphries, should the FIA ban paid drivers?
No.
No, they shouldn't, but they should try to structure things in a way that the teams don't need pay drivers.
I'd also
I agree with Dan.
I'd remind everybody that double world champion Fernando Alonso came into the sport with a load of sponsorship.
Yeah, Telefonica.
Yeah.
Organised by Briatore Limited.
Yeah.
Which is along the same lines as Bill Beasley saying, is the fact that Marcus Ericsson has a drive next year symbolic of what's wrong with F1? I think it's symbolic of what's wrong with Sauber.
Yeah, but I mean, let's not pretend that this
They're
is
broke.
new. Like 1997, fucking Pedro Diniz wasn't in Formula One because he was fucking blisteringly fast.
No.
You know,
No, he was in Formula One because
he needs to pay Damien Hill's wages that year.
Absolutely.
And let's also remember, for everything we say about Marcus Ericsson, he's probably still one of the top 50 drivers in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's better than any of us.
Yeah, but I mean, we barely scraped the top 100.
Yeah, in absolute terms, he is one of the best drivers in the world. And
I don't know because I don't know how it works with people like that. You know, it's
He's still got to qualify for a super license.
yeah, he's still got to qualify for a super license, but isn't that just time spent in certain cars?
No, because your points only carry over for a certain number of years.
All right,
You've got
got
to amass the requisite number of points over 3 years, and then anything you got from 4 years ago drops off.
I mean,
Before you get your F1 super license, then you got it for life.
the only reason I would argue about the top part of the top drivers in the world thing is because I think people like Sam Bird is better than him. You know, there's loads of other formulas with better drivers than him in. Whereas I understand what people are saying because Formula One should be for best of the best, sir. But
yeah,
it never has been.
it would be very nice if it was the 20 best drivers in the world.
Yeah.
In the 20 best cars in the world.
Yeah.
Setting blistering lap times. But there's real life to deal with.
Yeah. You can't not have it.
Yeah, I mean, is Joseph Newgarden better than Marcus Ericsson? Probably, but we don't get to find out because we don't get to see him race
I think
each other.
Joseph's old Gardner's better than Marcus Ericsson.
Because he waters it and he puts it on his windowsill.
And that's how you grow Joseph's new garden.
Joseph
Maybe his
Oldgarden
late
is actually
garden's
20
better.
days younger than Joseph Newgarden.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Just like Gary Newman's 20 days older than Gary Oldman. No, that's a true fact.
20 days?
Yeah, it's about that.
That's amazing.
Phil Cooper. This is something that we should have put on the running order, actually. Where would you go for the next 2 or 3 years if you were Danny Rick? Because he is just about to enter into contract negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that it's going to be important about what goes on because Red Bull are talking about building the team around Verstappen. What does Danny Rick do after 2018?
Considering that in 2 weeks ago, he turned around and knocked Kimi Räikkönen for beating him in the World Championship by saying
He should have been well down the road.
he should have been well down the road from me in that car anyway. And then the week later, he turned around and said Lewis won the World Championship because he psychologically beat Vettel. I would suggest that Ferrari might be where he's trying to stick himself.
Either that or he's it's either playground bullying tactics by sort of pick on Ferrari to then become their best friend.
Yeah.
Or he's after Bottas's seat, knowing full well that Bottas is probably not gonna make a third year if he has a similar year again at Mercedes. Because let's be honest, Bottas has to up his game a little bit.
Yeah, see, I think that's I think that's a good point, because I think we've had a few people talk about Bottas being out next year and Ocon coming into Mercedes, but I don't think Mercedes are going to be the bring in a young driver, or not a young driver because he'll have seasons under his belt, but bring in like even one of their development drivers just to get them in the car. They're going to pick you when you're ready.
Yeah, the worry, if I was Mercedes, the worry I'd have about Ocon is that he's had a strained relationship with Perez.
Yeah.
Because he genuinely believes he's better than him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a racer and he pushes, but there's obviously a bit of a clash there. What would happen if you had Ocon and Hamilton racing together? Would you be back to the Rosberg days?
Possibly. I think that's one thing that Danny Ricciardo, I would imagine, not knowing the man personally, is the fact he seems like personable within a team in the same way as Jenson Button was always looked at as being quite personable within teams. So if you don't want to ruffle feathers, maybe he's the person to go with, and you're getting a quick Formula 1 driver with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ferrari is the next logical move for him if he just doesn't want to find himself being number 2.
But everyone's associated with Raikkonen's Ferrari seat, and Raikkonen doesn't seem to be getting out of it.
No, because for the last...
Well, Seb asked for him, didn't he?
Yeah. I don't believe if it wasn't for Seb or like protecting Kimi in that seat for that drive this year, I don't think he would have been in that car. I think the only reason he's there is because he was essentially part of Seb's negotiating for his contract. But that contract's there now.
But Seb must see value in him. And
As a teammate.
And Vettel isn't just going to want someone who's slower than him. He's going to need someone who's just slower than him. For the same reason that Hamilton needs someone who's just slower than him.
But he's not just slower than him.
So what's Vettel seeing that we're not?
Maybe Vettel does want somebody that's
Compliant Kimi.
so someone that's underneath him.
Somebody who doesn't really care if he has to race for second place.
Yeah.
He's not going to be too put out of joint. If that was, for example, Sergio Perez in Kimi Raikkonen's seat, stay in second. We want Vettel to win this race. Oh, that's not fair. I'm faster than him. Kimi's just going to sit there and go, all right then, whatever.
Don't get me wrong. Sebastian Vettel is easily one of the best drivers in the world.
Absolutely.
Back to that conversation. But I think he's proven to me anyway this year that he's not Alonso or Hamilton level of wringing the death out of what the car can offer, whereas Sebastian's the perfect guy to have in your car. If for him to turn around to you and say, "Go and build me the best car that's quicker than everybody else, and I will win every fucking race in this championship," and that's why he wants a Kimi, is because like Mark Webber was never really quick enough to keep up with Vettel. Just on pure pace, regardless of being number 2 or not. On his day, he was faster.
Yeah.
But if
Vettel had more faster days than Webber.
Yeah. And
but Webber's days were maybe a quarter of the season.
Yeah. And it just depends whether Ferrari carry on thinking that's the way forward.
Maybe.
But you can never second guess what Ferrari are thinking, because fucking half crazy set of lunatics.
I fucking can't wait till they announce that your man Marchione is going to be at every race as acting team principal next year.
Because Arriva Bene may be getting promoted. Does Dan know about this? Was this on last week's podcast?
Know about this.
No, it was something that came up during the Abu Dhabi race. That there was rumours going around the paddock that Arriva Bene may be getting shunted upstairs onto the board of the whole Fiat group, and Marchione might take over the day-to-day running of the team himself, whilst he's also still in charge of the day-to-day running of the whole group as well.
Right.
Nothing else has come out about that since last week.
That's Vettel's 2018 title hopes
Screwed.
Yeah, like
so
he's going to grab that team, and he's just going to do it in the mouth. Like the whole team is going to be fucked.
So we'd like to congratulate Lewis Hamilton on the 2018 championship that he's probably going to win by Australia.
Only Renault can stop it.
China then.
What?
Or Bottas, if Bottas is good next year.
I think Bottas will be good next year. I think Hamilton could lose it. Hamilton could win it for Bottas, but I don't think Bottas can take it off him.
All depends on the car, because they're designing a car now for Hamilton and Bottas rather than Hamilton and Rosberg, which is what this year's car was.
Yeah.
So,
With a completely different suspension setup.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I wonder how much of that can actually be true these days of designing cars around drivers, because it was always more easy to build a car around a particular driver
when you could test the
when
thing.
you were testing the thing.
It was a Ross Brawn thing, wasn't it? Ross
Yeah.
Brawn was the first person to introduce designing a car around a driver.
Yeah.
And he did it with, I don't know if he did it before Benetton, but he definitely did it with Michael Schumacher at Benetton. Built that car around Michael Schumacher when he realised Schumacher was going to be there long term.
Yeah.
And Benetton went from being second, third best team in 92, 93 to being the best team in 94.
But when you're building a car and you're hammering it around circuits during the winter, lap after lap after lap, then taking it back into the garage and altering things, and then going back out to the circuit and doing it.
Well, it wasn't just during the winter; it was during the week.
Yeah. So,
just want to give a special mention to our two typos of the night, our two classic autocorrects. Rory, who asked, will Billy Munger ever race again, and sent a picture of him, which is tagged there with Robert Lubricants.
Oh, that well-known Polish driver.
The well-known Polish F1 driver, Robert Lubricants.
Yeah.
I think at least it's vaguely sort of motorish on the phone, so you can tell you're using your phone for good and not evil.
Oh, yeah. If you've got your phone with you now, if you're listening to this on the phone, or you're listening to it, wherever, and it's safe to do so, pick up your phone and just type Kubica in a text message and see if it comes up with lubricants,
and tweet it to Pablo100.
No.
But to answer the question, yes, of course Billy Munger's going to race again.
Yes.
Don't know if he'll ever get to Top Flight Motorsport, but he does seem very determined, and
he doesn't appear to have let his double leg amputation really, stop him so much. He just gets on with, moves around however he can move around. Sometimes you see him in a wheelchair. So best of luck to him. I hope he does come back and race in some form or another.
Didn't stop Alex Zanardi.
No, absolutely. Who was that? Was a quadriplegic racing driver at Le Mans a couple of years ago?
Yeah, there was. So, is there a barrier to him racing? No.
I must say, Formula One and Lewis Hamilton in particular were pretty good to Mr.
Absolutely.
Billy.
Yeah.
It was good.
Billy was
good to see.
Yeah, he's heavily associated with Mercedes now, I think.
Yeah, he was in the Mercedes garage quite a bit last sort of the back end of the season.
Am I right in thinking Mercedes paid for prosthetics for him or something like that? Was there something to do with
There was I think that was the that was all part of the fund, the GoFundMe campaign, which then got a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
Formula One drivers put an awful lot in.
Cyborg.
Oh, he may well be. May well be. Just genuine question here. It's going to come across a bit sounding a little bit funny, but I was just thinking about your quadriplegic racing driver at Le Mans.
An Englishman and a Scotsman.
No. Is there less to fear if you're already like Alex Zanardi, already missing limbs, and you go driving at high speed?
No.
Because you already know what happens.
You can't lose your leg, but now...
Well, no, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at the worst has already happened. The only thing worse than that is going to be...
death.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy the guy at Le Mans, whose name temporarily escapes me, he lost all 4 limbs due to meningitis. That wasn't an accident. That was medical.
Right.
He's probably of the mindset of I am just living life to the fullest here.
Yeah, on the limit all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you know what? Thinking about it, because this is why UFC fighters and stuff UFC
They've-
fighters don't
they've-
mind getting into the octagon because they've been hit lots of times and they know it never hurts as much as you think it's going to hurt.
Yeah, or, well, it can't be as bad as
So you
that
get
time
knocked
I got my skull caved in, so I'm
Yeah.
going to go and do it again anyway.
Maybe.
That's just, I'm just wondering if that's an actual thing. I mean, I know it sounds a bit odd, but can someone like Alex Zanardi, for example, race more on the limit because, and I don't mean this in the physical context, he's got less to lose.
Are we going back to losing weight again?
No. We're not going back to the whole weight loss thing.
I'm glad we didn't record that.
No, but because
I think for some people it might have that effect. For some people, not a chance. So some people are going to go, well, I know how much it
It's going to
hurts.
depend on your mental makeup, essentially.
Yeah. Some people will.
It's
will
a
be
barrier,
feeling
isn't
that
it?
The next time could be even worse than that.
yeah, there's a mental barrier for people like Alex and I do that to overcome when you're thinking about getting back into a racing car for the first time.
Oh, well, there's been people who had a crash and just got out of a car or wherever they've crashed and gone, oh, fuck that.
I'm never driving again,
Yeah.
like on the roads or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that happens. But I mean,
I was like that. I went to work once.
Yeah, and then you get into your car, and then it's you get into the car and you start driving again, and you realise, okay, well, I can actually still drive. But I'm wondering if the people who've had accidents, bad accidents, actually have more of a less of a fear factor when they're driving.
Yeah,
I'd imagine it's different for different people.
Yeah, it all depends on the person. That's the only thing you can say. How
Mental sports scientists, people who are studying at universities, get onto it.
yeah, if you have first-hand experience of this from either side, either the performance side or the sports psychology side, get in touch. It is something that we definitely
Sports
like to know.
psychology is fucking fascinating.
That's why I mentioned it, because it's not from. I realise it's an odd question to ask, but that's where I was coming at it from, the angle of sports psychology, not from,
General.
And it's 2017 and
Yeah.
everybody gets upset by everyone, so you've got to walk that minefield
Yes.
to get a point out.
Yeah,
That's fine. We realise you hate crippled people.
I don't at all.
And we're back. Just another mention for another autocorrect for Red Bennett, who we'd like to know what a vodka and Costa no dancing competition is.
A vodka and Costa no dancing.
Yeah,
Cossack?
possibly. I think that's...
Vodka and Cossack dancing are two Russian things.
Yeah. The full tweet. Right would happen at various other Grand Prix events, like the intros we had in USA. In Russia, everyone does a vodka and Costa no dancing competition before quali.
Can we have a blanket ban to say that if you're texting or emailing the podcast and you think you might be having a stroke while you're doing it, just stop.
I think what Red is saying is are they going to have more nationalist? Oops. Nationalised intros, localized
intros. Bring back the local hats, then we'll talk.
Oh yeah, like this, they should have had sombreros at Mexico.
Yeah.
And the Stetsons at Texas. What else do we have? We had the
I hated that.
I can't remember what, I can't remember what they were called in Russia. The
Russian hats.
Yeah, the Russian hats, the winter hats that they have in Russia.
I hate them because I think it'll look stupid in years to come. When you're looking back at old podium pictures,
I don't think so.
I think it'll look stupid.
No, I mean they got rid of the big laurel wreaths because it was obscuring sponsors.
Yeah.
That's one to ask Sean. The last race where the laurel wreath was given to the winner.
Well, that's a good one.
I remember them being given
early
in the
90s. Yeah. Yeah, they were given out
they
in the 90s.
they gradually got smaller and smaller and smaller to hide.
What is
so
it? What's the deal with them?
Romans.
Right, okay.
Winners of the original Olympics, Romans and Greeks, got given a laurel wreath for winning.
Right.
What I want,
I think he just
the
put it off
races-
on the fly and doesn't really know, don't you?
Maybe might be the case.
I've read asterisks at the Olympics. It was a thing in that.
The races that are sponsored by Heineken all seem to have the same star-shaped trophy. I want that to be different for every country.
Yeah, they should have localised trophies as well.
The Australian one, Brabham steering wheel.
Yeah, that's great.
Classic.
And the British Grand Prix BRDC trophy.
Monaco.
Yeah, the Hungarian used to have cut glass at the Hungarian race, and Nigel Mansell speaks about it on his audio tour of his museum, about how the trophies were usually made back then by local jewelers or trophy makers.
Brazil, it could mug you now.
Yeah.
So every race should have a unique trophy.
Yeah.
Hats, you can take or leave. Do it occasionally because it's fun, but the trophies should be recognisable. You should be able to see the trophy and say, that was won at so-and-so race.
Yeah. That would work a lot better, and get rid of the trophies that look like the circuit map as well.
Yeah, that's the Monaco one does that, doesn't it?
Circuit map's okay.
Those,
I don't know. It looks like a desktop paperclip sculpture.
They're not great, but I would take a circuit map over a Heineken
Star.
Yeah, because essentially all those Heineken things look like is a beer pump.
Yeah.
Right, and that's pretty shocking for winning a Grand Prix.
Yeah, I've just driven my ass off for 200 miles. Oh. I might be in my local.
I wish Durex would start sponsoring it.
They used to sponsor Williams.
They did, yeah.
Round about the time that the BBC stopped showing races the first time in the 70s.
Jesus. Wish to sponsor Ericsson parents.
I think we'll leave it at that. If you want to get in touch, then you can tweet us at 3legs4wheels or...
I'm at a total shunt.
At Flood21.
At Danbert.
And at Pablo100. You can email us 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, and you can also find us on Facebook. Drop us a message there. Just go to Facebook and search 3legs4wheels and we will turn up. Same on Instagram as well. And there's also, relentless plugging time, the other Patreon show that we do for our wonderful patrons.
Yes.
You can subscribe to that for as little as $1 a month. Gets you an extra show that we do every week with anything and everything that isn't Formula 1 related. Most of it, I would probably say, is not safe for work. I suppose it depends where you work. Go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels and take a look there. We'll be back next week. We may have Sean with us depending on his schedule. Definitely going to try and get him on the show before the end of the year.
Yeah, he of course may be swamped by media if this Save the Crew documentary goes viral and gets all of the media attention he's hoping it's going to get.
Yeah, we will share a link to that as soon as it comes out, and we'll see you next week.
We will indeed.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.